Today we're talking about Google Ads assets. Ad assets, formerly known as ad extensions, are additional pieces of content that are added to your ads, giving them more visibility and giving your customers more reasons to choose you over your competitors. If you set up your ad assets effectively, you will see a significant improvement in your click-through rates, so it's definitely worth investing time in setting them up, which we will cover in today's video. This video was made in partnership with ROImonks. You can find their links in the description. On this channel, I share agency-tested and proven Google Ads strategies, tips, and even some insider knowledge that we're actually using right now with real clients to drive real results. I want this channel to be on the cutting edge of Google Ads and performance marketing more broadly. No theories, no fluff, only proven, actionable tips. So definitely subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Without further ado, let's dive into creating your Google Ads assets. So, when you work with a Google Ads account, you have your account level settings at the top, and these settings apply to everything in your account. Your account contains of campaigns with their own campaign level settings, and campaigns consist of ad groups and asset groups, forming the hierarchy of Google Ads. Ad assets follow a similar hierarchy. This means that Google Ads allows you to add assets at the account, campaign, and ad group or asset group levels. For most assets, the primary principle is that a more specific asset overrides a more general one. If you have an ad group level asset, it will generally override a campaign level asset, which in turn will override an account level asset. This is because a more specific asset is usually more relevant to the user's query and ad group's theme. However, Google's system is also highly automated and performance driven. So the final decision on which assets to show is based on multiple factors, including your ad rank, plus you have relevance, plus performance, plus Google is looking at your other assets, meaning that it's evaluating all the different combinations of eligible assets that could be shown with your ad. For example, Sitelinks or image assets don't follow this strict account, campaign, ad group hierarchy. Instead, Google will show a combination of sitelinks and an image from any level that it predicts will perform best. Nevertheless, as account managers, all we can do is work within the system we have. So for best performance and relevance, when planning your ad assets, you need to think about which ones make sense for your business at the account level, which is the broadest level that will be applied to all ads in your account. Then you have to get more specific with your campaign level assets. And then when you go down to your ad group level assets, you need to get even more specific and create ad assets that would be relevant for ads and keywords in that specific ad group. Also, what you might realize, especially if you have a new Google Ads account, is that you might not yet be eligible for certain assets, as most of the assets we're going to cover today have a few requirements. But as long as you're not in a sensitive niche, and as long as you maintain a good history of policy compliance and keep spending on your ads, pretty soon you will be eligible for all the assets that we will cover in today's video. This is how ad assets work on Google Ads. So with this background information out of the way, let's now jump into a real account and go asset by asset, and I will explain what each one means and how to set them up. To access your ad assets, all you need to do is expand the Assets tab and click Assets. What you're going to see here is 4 tabs at the top: Associations, Performance, Asset Coverage, and Expanded Final URL Assets. Right below the tabs, you'll see different buttons for different ad asset types. And below that, you have a typical Google Ads data table with different filters and also different options for segments, columns, reports, downloads, and so on. What you might not know is that Google might be creating ad assets automatically for you, and often those assets are not nearly as good as the ones you can provide yourself. You can check your automatically created assets settings here. You can also check what automatic assets Google has used and what their performance was by using this filter. I will explain all the different tabs, filters, and segments in detail in a future upcoming video. For this video, let's focus on the creation of your assets. For this, you can stay in the Associations tab and just use these buttons to move from an asset to asset, and use this blue button to create a new asset. Let's start with image assets. Image assets basically allow you to upload images to complement your text ads. With good quality and relevant images, you can make your text ad much more compelling, which will improve the performance of your ads. So click on the big blue plus button. It's immediately going to prompt you to select a specific campaign. Image assets can only be added for search campaigns, and there are a few important requirements for image assets. For example, you cannot add any text or graphic overlays to your images in post-production. You cannot leave too much blank space. You are not allowed to use collages, blurry images, or distorted images, and you cannot use poorly cropped images. To upload your images, go to the Upload tab. You can also grab images directly from your Merchant Center if you have it linked. Also, if you don't have any images, you can grab them from just your URL. Simply type in your website here and Google will crawl it and will pull some images from the website for you, so you might be able to use them. Also, if you can find something relevant to your business, you might also use some free stock images from Google. Google is also rolling out a new feature currently in beta that allows you to generate images with AI. Basically, you need to upload up to 3 reference product images here, describe what you want, and you can even select an aspect ratio and add a style reference as well. You can create some really cool images with this tool, so I recommend testing it for your products. I will make a separate video about how to best use this AI features. For now, let's stay focused on the assets. You can upload images with 2 aspect ratios: square aspect ratio, which is required, and a landscape aspect ratio, which is optional. Note that you can actually crop images using the image picker when you're uploading your images. So if you don't have the right aspect ratios prepared, you can crop them easily. If you upload both square and landscape images, you're basically going to give Google more images to work with for different placements and different devices. So I recommend adding images of both types. Also, keep in mind that Google's recommended image safe area is around 80% in the center of the image, so keep your most important content towards the center of the image. Image assets perform best when they are highly relevant to your message in your text ad, and ideally convey some useful information as well. So in our example of jeans, you would upload images of blue jeans to your blue jeans ad group, images of skinny jeans to your skinny jeans ad group, and so on, to maintain this relevance. Now let's move on to your business name assets. This one is pretty straightforward. A business name alongside a business logo helps your ads stand out a little bit from your competitors and gives your ads a little bit more of a branded feel, raising your authority in the eyes of Google users. As you can see in this example, if you add a business name asset, it's going to show your business name alongside the URL in your ads. There are a couple of important requirements that you need to meet before you can add a business name asset. First of all, you must complete advertiser verification on Google Ads. It's pretty straightforward. You can Google it and complete it pretty easily in your account. Most importantly, the business name that you're submitting must either match your website URL or your company name that you have verified through advertiser verification. If you have a trademark registration, you can complete the brand verification process as well. So once you complete the verification, I definitely recommend adding a business name asset. Even though Google might crawl your website and automatically add your brand name to your ads, I still recommend adding your brand name here manually anyway. Now let's talk about your business logo. Just like with a business name, business logo helps your ads stand out from competitors and give your ads that professional branded look that builds trust with users. The setup process for logos is similar to business names. You need to have completed advertiser verification, and your logo needs to represent the same business that's been verified through your advertiser verification process. The logo must be a static square image. However, Google will render your business logo in a circular shape by default, so you want to make sure your logo looks good in a circle. Another key thing to keep in mind is that your logo will be displayed at a very small size, so don't add any extra text to your logo and try to keep it as simple as possible. Sitelinks are additional site links that appear below your ads, allowing people to quickly navigate to a specific page on your site. Sitelinks are probably the most important ad assets when it comes to making your ad occupy more ad real estate on the page. You see how much more space your ad can occupy when your full site links are showing versus when they aren't. To maximize performance, you should add at least 6, but more is better. Most importantly, you need to make sure that your account level site links are relevant for all campaigns in your account, and all your campaign level site links need to be relevant for all ad groups in that campaign. You should also add ad group level site links to give your customers extra relevant links for them to quickly navigate to. When you're creating your site links, you need to add the main site link text plus 2 optional description lines and the final URL where this site link is going to be pointing to. If you don't add description lines, your site link is going to be displayed as a simple line like you see in this example. But if you do add descriptions to your site links, they can occupy much more space on the page and it's going to be much more eye-catching. And if you're able to write really useful, relevant descriptions, it's also going to boost your click-through rates. So I definitely recommend adding description lines as well. It doesn't mean that Google will always show these descriptions, but when it predicts that it will improve performance, it's going to show them, so I highly recommend adding them. You can also use existing site links that you might already have in your account. Just check Use Existing option here, and you can easily and quickly select any site link you want to add to a specific campaign or ad group, for example. Also, note that while you're allowed to use up to 25 characters in your site links, you can actually benefit from writing shorter site links when possible, as shorter site links mean that Google can fit more of them underneath your ad. So don't feel like you have to maximize the amount of characters in your site links. As usual, there are several requirements that you need to follow. First, you cannot reuse site link text. Even if they point to different URLs, each site link text must be unique. Second, your site links must point to the final URL that matches the URL from your ad. However, Google does allow links pointing to third-party sites under limited circumstances, like your Facebook page, your Twitter account, your YouTube video, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Exclamation points and excessive punctuation is also not allowed. Another really cool feature of site links is that you're actually able to set a schedule for your site links. You can schedule a site link for a specific start date and end date, or you can set it to run continuously on either certain days or even certain times of the day. For example, if you're a restaurant, you might schedule site links for online ordering to only appear during your business hours, and this will ensure that your customers only see the online ordering option when your restaurant is open and is able to fulfill orders. If you don't set a schedule here, then your site links will always be eligible to show. Next, we have headline and description assets, and those are a little bit different from headlines and descriptions that you set up in your ads. So if we go to add a new headline, you will notice that you can only apply those assets to search campaigns, and actually it will only be applied to your responsive search ads. And if you add this headline, this will be used across all your responsive search ads within the selected campaign. And the most useful feature of this asset is the ability to pin headlines to a specific position, similarly to how you do in responsive search ads. For example, if you have a promotion, let's say it's a Black Friday sale, and you want to make sure that in this campaign, you emphasize it as much as possible, you can add the Black Friday sale headline to all your responsive search ads and pin this headline to a second position. This way, for headline 1 and headline 3, Google will continue using headlines from responsive search ads, but it will pin this Black Friday headline to second position for all ads in this campaign. You can also schedule this headline asset with a specific start and specific end date. And similarly, the description asset essentially works in the same way, where you first need to select a campaign and then add a description. You can pin it to a specific position, and you can also schedule it as well. Again, the use case for this is when you want to add certain messaging to all ads in your campaign. Callout assets are extra snippets of text you can add to your Google Ads search campaigns. They usually show below your ad copy, and they can be really effective at highlighting key selling points, features, or offers for your business. Unlike sitelinks, callouts are not clickable and don't link anywhere. They're just basically pieces of text designed to grab attention and add more value to your ad. Depending on the character spacing, browser, and device you're using, you can see up to 10 callouts in a single ad. So make sure you create at least 10 callouts, ideally even more, in order to make sure that you're maximizing potential callouts that Google may use in an ad. There is a 25 character limit for callouts, but again, don't feel like you have to maximize the characters in each callout. Actually, being brief can benefit you, as shorter callouts will allow more callouts to be shown on your ads. And similarly to sitelinks, you can also set a schedule for your callouts to be shown during specific times. Structured snippets are like lists that are used to highlight your catalog variety, and just like callouts, they are unclickable pieces of text, but that doesn't make them less important, as they can quickly help your potential customers understand your product or service range before they even click on your ad. First, select your language, then select a header that is most relevant for your product or service from this drop-down menu, and under values, enter the different options. Think of values as examples of their corresponding headers. For example, Costa Rica, Bali, Jamaica are values for destination, Wi-Fi, free breakfast, indoor gym are amenities, and in our example of apparel store, at the account level, we can add brands like Levi's, Gap, Tommy Hilfiger, etc. And for jeans campaigns, we can add styles such as skinny, bootcut, tapered, high waist, etc. Again, the idea here is to highlight your product or service variety, but still to make sure that whatever level you're adding structured snippets at, whether it's a campaign level, ad group level, account level, make sure that the principle of relevance is still maintained. Meaning, if you're adding structured snippets to the jeans campaign, make sure that all of these snippets are relevant to jeans specifically. Aim to include at least 4 values per header and add more than one header value set, as it will increase the likelihood that a relevant structured snippet will be shown in your ad. Call assets let you add phone numbers to your ads, which can significantly improve your call volume, as this makes it much easier for people to call you by simply clicking your phone number right underneath your ad. So obviously, call assets are best for encouraging your customers to call you and giving them an easy, convenient way to do that. All you need to do is select your country and enter your phone number here. You can also schedule your call assets to show on specific days or time of the day. And a really cool feature that call assets have is native Google Ads call reporting. Of course, you can use third-party call tracking software, but if you click the turn on link here, you will see an option to turn on call reporting for this account. And if you turn it on, it will create a call tracking event in your account. And this will allow you to measure the performance of your call asset by tracking details like call duration, call start and end times, caller area code, and whether the call was connected. And you can even count phone calls of a specific duration as conversions in order to optimize your campaigns for these high-quality phone calls. And of course, if you do set up call assets, you need to make sure that you or your team are available to answer these calls. Now let's move on to lead form assets, which allow you to add lead forms directly to your ads. First, you'll need to provide a headline, business name, and description. The headline should be compelling and clearly communicate what you're offering. The business name should match your verified business information, and the description should explain the value proposition of filling out the form. Next, you need to choose the questions that you want to ask in the lead form, such as name, email, phone number, and so on. You can mark the questions as optional. However, you can't mark both email and phone number as optional at the same time. If you are in B2B, optionally you can ask for work information, for example, a company name. Similarly, you can make these questions optional as well. You can also optionally pre-qualify your leads by age if it's relevant for your business. To qualify your leads even better, you can add your own qualifying questions by clicking the plus question button. Once you begin typing the question you want to add, suggested questions that match your intent will appear. You can also expand any of the available categories to view a list of all questions that match each category. The available questions are based on the language that you've selected. Then you'll need to add the URL to your privacy policy page. This is required to collect the information that appears at the end of your lead form. For search campaigns only, you can also add a background image to the lead form, and the background image needs to be in a landscape aspect ratio. Next, you need to add a headline and description to the form submission message, which appears after people submit their contact information. This is your opportunity to thank them and maybe provide next steps or expectations. Then you need to add a call to action to your form submission message, and you can also provide a URL related to the call to action. Next, you need to select a call to action for your ad, which is going to encourage people to interact with your lead form from your ad. And also, you need to add a call to action description, which is going to appear right below your call to action. And here on the right in the preview section, you can see how your lead form is going to be displayed on different placements. And you can even see how the lead form itself is going to look, how your submission message is going to look, and how the ad is going to look. So you can see how the call to action is going to be displayed as well. Next, you have this hidden setting, which is about your lead form optimization. Specifically, you can select from two options. You can either ask Google to generate more leads for you, or you can ask it to generate more qualified leads for you. By default, you're going to have more volume selected, and according to Google's documentation, the more qualified lead type may use a lead form design that contains more steps to submit the form. As a result, there may be fewer leads, but with a greater interest in your business, product, or service. I recommend starting with more volume, and if you're getting a lot of irrelevant leads from your Google lead form, then you can test a more qualified option here. Next, in order to export your leads from Google Ads, you can connect your CRM directly here, or alternatively, you can download collected leads in a table, or even if you have a custom-built CRM, you can set up webhook integration that's going to send leads directly to your CRM software. Now, at the very bottom of the lead form setup, you'll see an import conversions section. This feature is related to enhanced conversion for leads, which is an upgraded version of offline conversion import. Basically, when you import your offline conversions, the provided customer data is used to attribute back to the Google Ads campaign and the lead form by matching the data collected on your website with your ad. It essentially consolidates your conversion data to build a more complete picture of your customer's journey. If you want to get the most out of your lead campaigns, I definitely recommend setting this up because it allows Google to better optimize your ads and bidding strategy toward your ultimate business goals, not just the initial lead submission. Next, let's move on to message assets. Message assets allow customers to start a conversation with your business directly from your ad. When a potential customer clicks or taps on the messaging call to action or button, they'll start a conversation with your business. You can use message assets for providing customer support, generating leads, or even driving sales. Depending on your eligibility, you might see different messenger platforms here. I have WhatsApp. What you need to do is select your WhatsApp number country, add your WhatsApp phone number. Then you need to add a starter message, which is going to be basically pre-typed for your users so they can just quickly send you a message. Plus, you need to select a call to action for your WhatsApp button. So for example, we can select contact us. And you also need to add a call to action description, which is going to appear right beneath your call to action. So add a brief descriptive line about what you want a user to do, or maybe something that might encourage people to message you. Of course, if you set up message assets, you need to make sure that you or someone on your team is actually monitoring these messages and is responding to them. Location asset, if you set it up for your ads, is going to display this additional line beneath your ads, which may show your location city, your address, or in some cases, it may even show the distance to your location. And if a user clicks on it, they're going to access your details page for your location with information such as working hours, phone number, photos, and directions. If your physical location and calls are important for you in terms of driving business, you should definitely add location assets, as they're going to help you get more store visits, get more calls, and also help customers learn more about your location. In order to add a location asset, first of all, you need to go to your location manager within Tools. And second, you need to link a business profile that you need to set up beforehand. If you have multiple locations, you can create location groups. Then, once you added your location in the location manager and you go back to your location assets, you will be able to select your location or location group here and add it as a location asset. Next are price assets. If you add those price assets, your prices are going to be displayed in a couple of different possible formats. First, they may be shown in this rectangular tiles format, or they can show as a line as well, like you see in this example here. Price assets can be extremely powerful, especially if you have competitive pricing, as your competitive prices are going to be highlighted directly in your ads, giving your potential customers more reasons to choose you before they even clicked your ad. So in order to add price assets, first select the level which you want to add it to, then select your language. Under type, you need to select the type of a price asset that you're adding. So from this list, select what applies to your business most closely. You can select things like brands, events, locations, neighborhoods, etc. Then select your currency and your price qualifier. If you choose no qualifier, you will be adding exact prices. If you choose from, then it will be from price, and you also have up to and average. If you have a large catalog with different prices or a more advanced price structure, I recommend going with from. Next, for each specific price asset, you need to add a header. Then you need to select the units. If you go with no units, then it will just say from price, or you can select per hour, per day, per week, per month, per year, per night. So if you're in the service business or real estate, for example, you can add one of these units. Of course, you also need to add a description and the final URL for your price asset if users click on it, and optionally the final URL for mobile. My recommendation is that you add at the very least 3 price assets, ideally at least 5, but the more the better. Keep in mind that sometimes your price assets may appear without a description, so if you're adding some critical information in the description, it's best to put it in the header. And also keep in mind that sometimes your prices might be rounded. You need to make sure that the price assets that you're creating are actually going to be relevant to the user's search and the ad you're making it for. But again, I want to emphasize that if your prices are higher than your competitors, then don't add your price assets, as people are going to notice it, and you're basically going to be disqualifying yourself by higher price right away in your ad. So only use them if you actually have competitive pricing. Next are app assets, and app assets let you add a link to your mobile app directly in your ad, so users can click it and download or open your app if they already have it installed. At the moment, I believe it only works with search campaigns, but things are constantly changing. What's really cool is that it's going to detect automatically if the user is on iOS or Android, and it's going to show the correct store link, whether it's an Apple App Store or Google Play. And if the app is already installed, instead of showing install app, it's going to say open app. So how do you set it up? First of all, select your mobile app's platform, and then look for your app in this search bar. And you can also write optional text that's going to appear below the link. And optionally, you can also schedule this app to show during specific time frames. So this asset can be really useful if you have a well-optimized, convenient app, and especially if the user's search query or your ad are actually relevant to the app, and the app might somehow enhance your customer's journey, so you can take advantage of this feature. But if your app is not at the place where it needs to be, meaning if it's buggy, if it's outdated, or if it's just visually unappealing, then I recommend steering away from the app asset. Only add it if you actually have a strong app, as it's going to be a great way for you to drive more app installs. Finally, let's move on to promotion assets. These are also really effective. They consistently outperform other elements of the ad, and they really boost click-through rates. First of all, when you set up your promo asset, you can select an occasion from this drop-down menu, like back to school, Black Friday, Christmas, Cyber Monday, and so on. If you add it, it's going to add an extra piece of text in bold that's going to say, for example, Black Friday. And if you keep it at none, then it's just going to say deal in some placements. So check the available occasions here. If anything is actually relevant to your current promotion, I recommend adding it, as it adds a little bit more seasonal relevance to your ad. Then choose your language, currency, and promotion type. You have 4 options. First, you can offer a monetary discount, which is like $20 off, a fixed dollar amount off. You can also offer a percent discount, like 10% off. And you can also offer up to monetary discount and up to percent discount. So, for example, if your sale is up to 20% off, then you would use up to percent discount. And in the percentage here, enter 20. Next, describe the item or the product or service that you're promoting. You can enter up to 20 characters here. So in my case, I would say up to 20% off all jeans, for example. And then add the final URL for your promotion asset, which people will land on if they click on your promotion. Next, you can add promotion details, such as if your offer is conditional, you can enter those conditions here. For example, on orders over, let's say $100. Or you can also add a promo code. People generally love promo codes, so if you are offering a promo code, you can also promote it directly in your ad. So let's say promo code is SAVE20, or alternatively, you can also offer a promo code via a barcode or even a promo code via QR code. Next, you can also display certain promotion dates. This is optional, you don't have to do it, but if your promotion actually has a fixed start date and or a fixed end date, I do recommend adding them again, as it's going to add a little bit of urgency to your ads and to your promotion asset once the end of your promotion starts approaching. And it's going to be a little bit more impactful, as it's going to encourage people to take action now. Additionally, under advanced options, you can include some terms and conditions for your promotions if you have some strict conditions. You can also link to your full terms and conditions for the promotion. And of course, you can also set asset scheduling. So, for example, once your promotion ends and you want to make sure that on that specific day and time the promotion asset stops working, you can schedule an end date here. So this is an actual schedule of your promotion asset, while here a little bit higher is the promotion dates that users see. So logically, usually they are aligned. So if you have an end date of the promotion, I would probably use the same end date for the asset scheduling as well. Don't forget that the final URL that you're linking to needs to be relevant to the promotion. So ideally, when a user clicks on your promotion asset, they need to be taken to a page where at the very top they are reaffirmed about the promotion, where it says in big bold letters sale, or your promotion name is repeat, or it immediately starts showing products with promotion prices. Basically, make sure that your final URL is also relevant to the promotion. And this is it. This is how you set up Google Ads assets. Thank you so much for watching up to this point. These really long and really detailed videos take a lot of work, especially the editing part, and I do all of the editing myself. So if you found this video helpful, I would really appreciate if you support the video with a subscription, a like, and a comment. Pretty soon I will make a follow-up video about how to optimize your ad assets. So again, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that upcoming video. Thank you again so much for watching up to this point. I will see you next one.